Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the most, Avery LR32 here, bringing you guys my new series, and it is the very first episode of it, of course, called Deck Dissection. That's right. I actually got the idea from gagexscapegoat, and he was kind enough to allow me to use this series since he doesn't really do it much anymore. And so I figured for my very first episode, I would cover a regional deck profile from Asian Persuasion 2008. Shout out to him. And it is his Laval deck that he went, I believe he said he went 8-1 with it at regionals. I believe it was this past weekend, just past this weekend at the time you're recording this video. Today's November 23rd at the time you're recording this. So, it is recent, and I have to say, man, I've played about maybe 5-6 games with this deck. You know, some people rage quit and whatever. Oh my god, you guys, I want to build this deck. I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's badass. Like, everything about it I like. I like how you can go rekindling and just drop a bunch of stuff and just like rekindling is just so MVP. I'm so glad that it's still at 3. But anyways, I'm going to jump right into the deck profile, and then I will discuss in deck dissection, of course, what I like about the deck and what I don't like about it. That's essentially what deck dissection is. I dissect the deck, of course, and I talk about, the pros and cons and what I like and what I don't like from testing it. So we have 3 Blaster, 2 Cannoneer. The thing is with Blaster is that everything in this is fire, so you can just pitch him in another Blaster if you really need to, or just pitch him in a fire to blow something up. And then Cannoneer, you can tribute a fire, or I'm sorry, you send a fire from your hand up to twice per turn to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So it's basically like their own cannon soldier, which is really nice. I'll go over all the effects after I go through the whole deck profile for the rest of them. 3 Laval Cannon, 3 Handmaiden, and 2 Lakeside Lady, 3 Card D, 3 Max C, 2 Swift Scarecrow Battle Fader, and a Boost Warrior. For the spells, triple MST, Dark Hole, Gold Sark, 3 Rekindling, your MVP. Almost everything in the monster lineup is 200 defense except for the Blaster and the Laval Cannon. So essentially you're just going to be going for Lakeside Lady, Handmaiden, and the Cannoneer. 3 Molten Conduction Field. You send 2 Laval monsters from your deck to the grave. So the typical play is activate Molten Conduction Field, send Handmaiden and Cannoneer. Handmaiden's effect activates, which is if you have another Laval monster in your graveyard besides Handmaiden, then you can send a Laval monster from your deck to the grave. So since Cannoneer is the other one in your grave, you can use Handmaiden to send your second Handmaiden. The second Handmaiden will activate since you have a Cannoneer in grave to send the third Handmaiden, and then the third Handmaiden will activate, thus sending the Lakeside Lady. And then 3 Potted Duality for consistency, 2 Scapegoat, and then 2 Spiritual Fire Art Karune. God, it's so good. Like, just having the ability to drop a Blaster, swing for 28, and then use Karune to inflict another 28. I mean, that's almost an OTK right there. That's what, 49, that's 5,600 points of damage right there. You only need, like, what, you need another 2,400 points, which you can easily drop with this deck. Side deck, 3 XYZ Encore. Agent Persuasion talked about how if you do this against a first turn Evil Swarm Ophion player, meaning they drop Ophion first turn, you just activate XYZ Encore and proceed to go off if you have the hand. 3 Prohibition, return from the different dimension, because in case you don't use your Rekindlings, they all get banished, and you also banish cards with Lakeside Lady's effect. Return, Soul Drain, 2 Threatening Roar, 2 Gozen, and 3 Royal Decree. Extra deck, Formula Synchron, Mistbird, Colossus, Armory Arm, Lavable Dragon, Cataster, Armides, Laval Dual Slasher, 1 Hyper Librarian, 1 Lavable Dragoon, 1 Black Rose, 1 Laval Standin, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Crimson Blader, and 1 Shooting Quasar Dragon. So just to go over the effects like I said I would, Laval Lakeside Lady is a level 3 tuner, fire type, 200 attack and defense, and Handmaiden is also a tuner, except it's a level 1. Lakeside Lady's effect is that if it's in your graveyard and you have 3 or more Laval monsters with different names in your grave, you can banish this card and 1 other Laval monster from your grave to target a set card your opponent controls and destroy that target. So you can go Blaster, pitch this, and Lakeside Lady, pop any card on the board, and then use Lakeside Lady's effect to target a set card and destroy it. There's a lot of destruction in this deck, in case you haven't noticed, with the Dark Hole, the 3 MSTs, and the Lakeside Ladies, and the Blasters, which is why I really like the deck, because it simplifies your opponent's board with all the destruction. And of course, just the major OTK power. Asian Persuasion actually showed the combo how you do the OTK, and really it's simple. Let's say you have Battle Fader and Conduction Field in your hand along with a Rekindling, that's pretty much it. You play the Conduction Field, you send 5, the 5 that I mentioned, and then you summon the Battle Fader, activate, or I'm sorry, you activate Rekindling to drop the 5 monsters that you have in your grave. You sync with Handmaiden and Cannon into Hyper Librarian, and then you sync into another level 5 with the other Cannon and Handmaiden. Uh, so you're dropping a Lakeside Lady, 2 Cannons, and 2 Handmaidens. Go into 2 level 5s, and then go into Formula by summoning the Battle Fader, and then you can sync into another level 2. It's kind of confusing, because I'm still trying to get it down as you can hear from me trying to explain this. But essentially, you drop Quasar by, of course, having 2 level 5s, and then your level 1 that's in your hand, because you can summon it and then sync with the Handmaiden for a level 2. So like I said, the deck can be a bit confusing at first. Boost Warrior, another mentionable card. It's also a fire type that you can pitch with Blaster, and it's a level 1, so that you can just sync into Formula easily. If you control face-up tuner monster, you can start summon this card from your hand, face-up defense mode. All warrior type monsters you control gain 300. So you have this on board, special summon, make a Formula go off. And then any other cards mentioned, Lavable Dragon, Lavable Dragoon, and Dual Slasher. I finally have a reason to have all those friggin' dual slashers, because I have like hundreds of them. His effect is just based on the number of Laval monsters in your grave. He's nothing really special. You're just essentially going to be syncing with him to go into Quasar, and Quasar is of course your bread and butter. You drop this, you've won. Like, you are just like playing the deck completely wrong if you have not won by this point. So I've talked about the deck, so what do I like and not like about it? Of course, as I stressed in this video at the beginning of the video, I love the OTK potentiality. I love how it has simplification of the game, constantly destroying cards. I mean, your opponent basically never has a field. I like the fact that even if you don't use all your stuff with Rekindling, you get your return in your side deck to get that stuff back. You also have Cannon. Whenever he's normal summon or flip summon, you can target one of your banished level monsters and special summon it. So you can just summon it, get back your Handmaiden, and just sink into another level 5. Or have your level 3 tuner and then sink into a 7, like say Black Rose, which is really easy to drop, or Stenin if you really need to. So a lot of combos can come from this deck. It's almost like E-Dragons, where they just constantly have combos out the wazoo. And this deck is essentially the same thing, just to a bit of a lesser degree. So I really like that about the deck, probably because I'm currently running E-Dragons, and I just like the fact that it has a bunch of combos like this deck does. The things I don't really like about it, I don't like the fact that you can get those hands that are just completely trash. I mean, that happens with every deck, but it's like, especially with decks that are more revolved around OTKing, they seem to get more bad hands. Like, I was just playtesting this deck about an hour ago before I recorded this video, and I opened up double MST, and then I ended up... What did I activate? I activated card. I summoned card D and activated it, and then I drew into my third MST in a max C when I had already opened with 2 MSTs, and it was not pretty, you guys. So I mean, there's always those hands. Of course, that happens with every deck. This one just happens to, when you get a bad hand, you're gonna be able to tell a few seconds after looking at your hand. I mean, other things that I could really say about the deck, I mean, not much really. Like I said, it has that burn factor, and I like that too, because it's a cheap and cheeky way to win. But it's what the deck does. Already you're inflicting 1,000 with Cannoneer, plus the potential 2,800 with Karune, possibly even more if you end up contributing one of your fires here. But I believe the highest out of all these is Blaster from all the fires in this deck. The highest is Blaster, so the highest that you can deal is 2,800. So that potentiality of inflicting double 2,800 is really, really good. Other than that, really nothing wrong with the deck. I mean, every deck has its pros and cons. I really haven't seen a lot of major issues with this deck. Of course, if you play Vanity's Emptiness on it, then you're screwed. So it definitely does lose to cards that don't allow you to special summon. But, I mean, really, other than that, you have your side deck for that. You got the triple Prohibition, so you can just call Prohibition on Vanity's Emptiness, and then anything else that you need. So essentially, game 1, you're most likely going to win, and it's definitely going to catch people off guard, which is also another good factor, because the only thing I knew about lavals going into this profile of making this deck was that it can make Quasar. I didn't know how, I just knew it could make Quasar. So that's always going to throw people off. They're going to see lavals and they're going to be like, okay, so I just need to worry about Quasar, and they'll think, oh, it must be inconsistent. Nope, this deck makes Quasar decently consistently. After 5 or 6 games, I had the correct hand where I was able to drop Quasar. It wasn't first turn, but I ended up dropping it about 4 or 5 turns into the game that I was playing against this person. Um, so yeah, anyways, that's it for everything, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck dissection. If you want to see more deck dissection next Monday, be sure to leave a like or favorite on this video. I believe I'm uploading this on Monday. Yeah, I believe that's what my schedule is. I can't remember. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and as always, rate, comment, and subscribe.